Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility. Today, for this episode, we're going to take a look at the brand new, well, it's not quite out yet. I've actually held off on releasing this video because Inside Out Music sent me the new Jethro Tull quite early before release date. Their 24th studio album, Curious Ruminant. I actually got this a full month before release date and, been listening to it a lot. I spoke to the guys at Inside Out. I'm like, is it too early to post a review? They're like, yeah, could you wait a couple weeks? I'm like, I could wait a couple weeks. So but I'm like, but it's so fresh in my mind. I want to talk about it. So I recorded this. So when you're watching this video, I actually recorded it like 2 weeks ago. Because I just had to, like I said, I've been playing it a lot. And I just really, really wanted to kind of record and talk about it. And, it's amazing. Here we are in the 2020s, right? And in the last 3 years, we've got the Zealot, Gene, Rock Flute, and now Curious Ruminant. 3 studio records from the current incarnation of Jethro Tull put together by Ian Anderson in like 3 years. That's pretty crazy. We haven't seen that kind of activity from the band since the 70s. So let's take a look at the CD digipack here. Kind of a cool cover, right? It's got the mask there. There's Ian wearing the mask on the back. We've got, there's the band. All right, don't think there's anything under the tray. No, blank there. I'll take you through the booklet, and then I'll tell you who's on the album. So not only do we have lyrics and personnel, but we actually get a track-by-track summary from Ian. He's been doing this of late, where he talks about the inspiration behind each of these songs, and maybe the kind of genesis, the formation of the songs, and then here we got the lyrics, right, stuff, right? So in the current incarnation of Jethro Tull now, we have, hold on, as I put this back in the sleeve, we've got Ian, of course, on flutes, vocals, acoustic guitar, tenor guitar, mandolin, odds and sods, bits and bobs. The typical Ian Anderson quirky humor, right? We've got David Goodyear on bass guitar, longstanding member of the band. You got John O'Hara on piano, keyboards, and accordion, longstanding member of the band. You got new guy, Jack Clark, on electric guitar. You got Scott Hammond on drums. Also helping out on the album on drums, James Duncan on drums and percussion. And then making his first appearance with Jethro Tull in quite a while, longtime previous member of the band, Andrew Giddings, adds a little piano, keyboards, and accordion to a couple tracks on the album. So what do we have here on this record? So we've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 new tracks. I think, 1 or 2 songs, I think the title track and maybe one of the song released as singles before the album came out. I think if you're familiar with the last couple of albums, I think the formula is not all that different. Although I will say I'm getting more Songs from the Wood, Heavy Horses vibes on some of these tracks. Maybe mixed with a little bit of, like Catfish Rising, that kind of like bluesy, folky thing. Mixed with your medieval, Jethro Tull blend of hard rock and prog rock, right? So it starts off with Puppet and the Puppet Master is the first track. Right off the bat, again, this is no surprise to anybody who's been following Ian and Tull over the last bunch of years. He's sounding kind of frail vocally on this one. Kind of is where his voice is at this time, right? But there's a bit of muscle on the electric guitar, which I like. I think this guy, John Clark, is a really good player. I'm hearing some Martin Barr-isms from him in spots, which I think will please a lot of people. I think ultimately, and I'll talk about it at the end, I feel there could be more muscular guitar on this album, but when it does pop up, it's really, really good. There's some nice acoustic guitar in here, really great use of flute, got some accordion in the background, which we'll tend to hear a bit of on this album. I'm not a huge fan of accordion. I don't dislike it as much as I dislike harmonica, but to me, accordion is okay in brief moments. It tends to be in the background of a lot of tracks here. I'm not overly nuts about that, but it's okay. I really like the arrangement. And again, the flute is terrific on this track. Tasty guitar solo, which I really like. You get a nice little, what's really interesting, you get this cool guitar solo, then a flute solo, then an organ solo that trading off there. Very, very cool. Good opener. I really like Puppet and the Puppet Master. The title track, Curious Ruminant, is next. Again, they pre-released that. Driving beat to start this one. You got Ian's flute out front. on the lead melody. His vocals are barely above a whisper, but I like the blending of acoustic and electric guitar. There's good keyboards, nice flute. I think John Clark's electric guitar patterns are really good on this particular track, and they got some nice grit to them. And he also delivers a really fine guitar solo. I really like the title track, really good. Dunsinane Hill, kind of a plodding rocker, right? The arrangement's just... It's nothing really all that interesting. It does rock, though. But you got Ian's flute is just kind of soaring all over the place on it. So Ian kind of saves the day on that one. Not one of my favorites on the album, but not terrible. The Tipu House, big, lively track. I think Ian's vocals sound a little more forceful here, which is good. I love the flute and the guitar melody. I hear some mandolin in the background and a little bit of accordion simmering back there. This one rocks a bit, too. I like the rockers on here. I think most people want more of the rock from Jethro Tull. I dig it. Good track. Savannah of Paddington Green, more of a folky piece. Would have sounded right at home on Songs from the Wood, I think, or Heavy Horses. Nice acoustic guitar work. A little too much accordion for me. I'm getting a little accordion fatigue. You know, like I said, it's okay in small doses. When you're starting to feature it on 3, 4, 5 tracks, it's like, enough. But otherwise, it's a nice piece. Stygian Hand, another folky flavored number. This one kind of like, I don't know, slithers and weaves quite nicely. The flute is wispy. There's nice little guitar leads popping up all over the place. The mandolin and acoustic guitar, really, really nice. Love the arrangement. To me, it sounds like classic 70s Tull. Stygian Hand, I think people are going to really dig. I like it quite a bit. Over Jerusalem, I can never say this. Over Jerusalem. Right off the bat, you can tell Ian's vocal limitations standing out big time on this one. He's really trying to reach notes that he can't really reach anymore. But man, the song is really good. It's a charming little slice of folky prog. I think O'Hara's organ and the gentle piano adds a really nice touch on here. The acoustic guitar parts are really nice. I like this one a lot. It's another one that could have easily come off of Songs from the Wood or Heavy Horses or Stormwatch from that era. And there's a heavier rocking section towards the middle. Ian's flute comes out, starts doing some really nice things. You got a great electric guitar solo from Clark. That sounds very Thick as a Brickish, right? The whole heavy section on this track just reminds me like it was taken from Thick as a Brick. Pretty cool. Good song, Over Jerusalem. I really like it. Then the big 16-minute epic comes. Drink from the Same Well. This is apparently, if you read the notes from Ian, this is a song that has been simmering and had been worked on for many, many years, back to when Andy Giddings was in the band. Loads of flute on this one. This one, did it need to be 16 minutes? Maybe not. But if you like Ian's solo, kind of flute-dominated solo albums, right? If you just love hearing Ian's flute, this is the track for you. It's got some of his best flute playing in a long time. He even states in the liner notes that he feels it's some of his best flute playing ever. I wouldn't argue it. Like I said, maybe it goes on a little bit too long. The chorus with the flute following the vocal melody is really, really nice. Kind of wish there was more of a guitar presence on this one, though. But it's mainly a vehicle for Ian's flute, and I think for that, it's pretty stellar. Okay, maybe condensed it a little bit. For me, either add some more guitar or make it a little shorter, but I think what's on there is really, really good. And then the last track is called Interim Sleep. It's basically Ian's little spoken word, brief little piece with flute and acoustic guitar. Ends the album on a gentle note. So overall, I've enjoyed Zealot Gene and Rock Flute. I really enjoyed both of those. I have known and accepted the fact that Ian's voice is not what it used to be. It's been that way forever. Not forever, but a long time. You could arguably say that Ian's voice has not been the same since the early 90s. And I've seen Tull live many, many times in the last 30 plus years. And it is what it is. But, the musicianship is stellar on this record. There's some really great songs on here. There's stuff that kind of harks back to other eras of Tull that we all know and love. Is it the next coming of Songs from the Wood or Aqualung or Stormwatch or Broadsword or, any of those classic albums? No. But as a Jethro Tull album in 2025, from Ian Anderson, who is the guy. Everybody complains, oh, no Martin Barr, no Jethro Tull. Well, Martin's been gone from the band for a long time. Ian has always been the leader of this band. He has always been the guy to change and do things to the lineup. Martin's doing his own thing. I just accept the fact that Ian is going to make Jethro Tull what he wants to make Jethro Tull. It's whether, you can say he can use the name or not, whatever. I don't think it was ever etched in stone that Martin Barr was a full-time, full 50-50 partner in the Jethro Tull name and legacy. It was never that. This was always Ian's band, always Ian's baby. He has changed lineups many, many times over the years. Everybody gave him a pass back in the 70s and the 80s when he did that. Now is really no different. Yes, the man on guitar is not there anymore, but I've gotten over it. And I think this is a fine record. I think John Clark's a really good guitar player, a good fit for the band. Do I wish there was a little bit more of him on here? Yes. Do I wish there was a little bit less accordion? Yes. The flute playing is outstanding. I like the arrangements. I think there's some really good tracks on here. Ian's voice notwithstanding, he's fine for what he's doing. On maybe one or two tracks, he's reaching a little bit above and beyond his means, but I don't mind the more statesman, whispered kind of tones from him. I really don't. It still sounds like Ian Anderson. So I like this. Do I like it as much as Rock Flute? I don't know yet. I think of the three that have come out in the last couple of years, I think I like Rock Float better than the Zealot Gene, although I like both of them quite a bit. This I do dig. I don't know if I like it as much as the last one. I think the last one rocked a little bit more. This is much more of the kind of the folky period Tull, but I like it. I think it's good, and the songs are pretty memorable, which that's a good thing. So I'm going to give this probably like a 3.75 out of 5. I know on the webzine we can't really do. We do 3.5s, 4s, whatever. I think it's better than the 3.5. I don't know if it's quite a 4, so I'm going to go 3.75. I really dig it. I think it's really good, and I think it's worth your time if you're a fan. So, yeah, for sure. If you've liked the last two, go check it out. If you haven't bothered with the last two didn't do much for you, I don't know that this is going to sell you on this current lineup of Tull. But like I said, if you really love the folky Tull period from the 70s, I would say give it a try, because there's a lot of elements on this record that that will kind of scratch that itch a bit. So, yeah, so go check it out. Curious Ruminant from Jethro Tull, 3.75 out of 5. I dig it. Hopefully you will too. Visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube all together, all the damn time. By the way, I think it March, hold on, what is the release date on this? I believe it's March 7th. Yeah, March 7th is the release date. So, go check it out. It's coming out in a couple weeks. Get your pre-orders in and all that good stuff. And thanks for watching. I'm Pete Pardo. See you soon. Bye-bye.